Hello everybody. I just want to start this month's tarot reading by saying that I hope that you and your loved ones are all safe and well and in as good a state of mind as you possibly can be given what's going on. These extraordinary, life-changing times for the whole planet. It's hard to find words, honestly, right now. To express everything that's in my heart about what's going on with people. And there's such a wide range of how people are doing and reacting and responding to this time. So I'm going to just focus on what I do, which is the 3 cards of the month, trying to tap into the overall vibe. It doesn't all apply to the pandemic. Obviously, we'll be framing it that way, but try to be open that some of what comes up and comes through might be just related to other energies going on and other events that can happen to us all. All right. So I'm just going to mix my cards and think about April 2020. April 2020. So I'm going to pull 3 cards for the month, and then I offer an extended tarot of the month for subscribers. If you want to subscribe to Patreon, you can access all kinds of other stuff that I give, including the extended version of this. So here we go. So the first card is 4 of Wands. Venus and Aries, and we're in the sign of Aries right now. Second card is the 10 of Wands, Saturn and Sagittarius. The third card is the 2 of Cups, Venus in Cancer. All right. So it's an Aries card. 4 of Wands says completion. You can see the circle and all the wands are forming and crossing in the middle, and there's a fire, if you can see the flames in the middle, and you can also see the animals. There's a goat and there's a dove. So this is interesting because the goat is often associated with Capricorn, and in many traditions the goat is associated with sometimes evil or the devil. Not to say Capricorns are, just saying. And it's interesting then that we have a dove as the other thing. Now, it's sort of a balancing of dark and light, good and bad. The circle is successfully keeping the fire contained, which is an interesting image to get right now. Fire can be anything from anger, passion. It can also be fever. It can also be any kind of aggression that comes up. It looks to me from this card that we start off the month with this feeling under control for the most part. Now, if it's not applied to the direct crisis, I would normally say it's a time of honoring yourself. Venus in Aries is like a warrior goddess aspect. It's she's going to be good at acting quickly. She's going to speak the truth. She's going to not mince her words. Say it pretty clean and clear. It's also sometimes the card of thinking of yourself first. You don't mean to be selfish, but you're thinking of yourself. So there is a survival side to anything with Aries in it. Venus and Aries can also be the cheerleader, the rah-rah, the fun person who gets the party going. So it's sort of a time, I would say with this card, it's like figure out who your circle is. Keep them close and strong. Try to overcome any, you know, extreme thoughts of good and evil if you can, so that we can stay in the present moment. And the whole message is about containment, you know, proper use of that fire. So we can also use fire as our will, as our strength to carry on, as our courage, as our ability to act quickly, instead of using it for anything that could be destructive. The Ten of Wands is a tougher card, and it says oppression. Saturn and Sagittarius. If you can see at the top, there's the Saturn, the bottom's the Sagittarius. And as you see, there's two very strong wands coming to basically suppress or keep the others in check. Now, oppression's a scary card to get, yes. It's sort of like some, how would you say it? Saturn and Sagittarius, as they say, is sort of like, it sort of feels like when your dad comes home in the middle of your wild party and says, okay, that's enough, everyone go home. And that might be the feeling that we have in a lockdown. It's easy to feel like you're sort of being suppressed or punished, even if it's for public safety, and it is. But many people will have fears about what this is going to mean in the future. Some of these government powers or announcements, people might be scared they continue past the pandemic. Some people will just, you know, have difficulty with authority, any kind of authority during this time. And as you see, this, you know, the flames are pretty powerful behind it. They're much bigger than on the four. They're both wands, right? So the number of people, the number of the amount of fire, it increases in this card. And so as we know, if we're watching the news, we will still see increases this week in cases and in spread. So we have to be, and this month, we're going to have to mentally prepare and accept this reality and do our best to again contain. So here again, you see these two very thick wands that are covering the rest, and those ones are interlocking. So this is a very strong force that is actually holding back this fire. Now, a lot of times Sagittarius feels like, yeah, well, I have a right, you know, I want to just go do and be free and do whatever I want when I want. And Saturn comes along and says, no, there's limits. And so this could represent how people are feeling in general about society, that we've reached a max. We've reached some sort of threshold on planet Earth. Things are at an extreme. And you could see the wands as keeping things at bay for protection or for a necessary limit, instead of to, you know, sort of to just to piss you off or whatever, to make you angry or restrict you. If you think about, you know, a time, if you raised kids, or even think about your own childhood, when a time when maybe you were doing something that it was all right, but you were risking danger, and your parents came along and said, no, that's enough, stop. And they protected you, even though you might have had a tantrum, or your child had a tantrum that you said no. But we all know that there's times in life when we have to say no to ourselves. And I think in terms of this being a, you know, a global reading, if you will, that there is some sort of limit or threshold that we reach this month, and there will be a lot of mixed and extreme reaction to that. Our next card is much more hopeful. The Two of Cups. Two of Cups is the love card. It says love. Venus in Cancer. Look how different that is. So there's going to be a real switch around this month. A real turning point. And it comes with the end result here of the love card, or Venus in Cancer. Now Venus in Cancer, you have Venus in Aries, which is thinking of yourself. And Venus in Cancer is tenderness and caring and mothering and nurturing others. So when we see that this limit is indeed reached, whatever is going to come to a max before we realize, oh, this is it, this is as far as it's going to come. Whether that's the leveling off or the flattening of the curve in the spread, or whether that is some sort of max in terms of government regulations, controls, intervention to prevent things, and that extends all the way down into your work. You know, we should see, once we realize this max has been reached, we should see an outpouring of care and compassion, which makes me very hopeful. I really get this feeling for the last few months, honestly, that the end of April is going to see some very, very positive, surprising turn around for the better. And with this card, it would sort of tell me that it's on the level of emotional care and an outpouring of gratitude and paying attention to the vulnerable. That's another thing about Cancer, is vulnerable people, vulnerable animals, vulnerable. Perhaps we're going to really see a true opening of heart across the world that will shift who leads us, what policies we go forward with, and connecting us more to our friends and our family and our neighbors is the beauty of this whole month and this whole time as well. Let this time bring you closer, and it will. All right, if you would like to continue this reading, I go and pull another 6 cards and continue. That's on the extended tarot of the month. And you can subscribe to Patreon. The link is below if you'd like to continue and see the extended version.